notes is positive, between line notes is negative. You could say that, but I'd rather just call it in between line notes or line through notes. And the same thing, we've talked about it on this particular diagram here that shows the overlap zone. So here's middle C right here, here's middle C right here. In the lower treble clef, it's below the treble clef, it's above the bass clef there. So let's move on. Now we talk about, in this next chart, we talk about string shapes on the mighty staffs. Okay, string shapes on the mighty staffs. What are the string shapes? By the way, let's look at what we would call the roots. What are the roots? Middle C, let's just find middle C. Middle C is right down here. Middle root, lower treble C, middle C, right here. Upper root, treble clef C, upper C, right there. Way upper root, up here in the upper treble clef, upper treble C, way up C. Alright, root or C, it's root in root C. In the key of C, it's root. Super upper root, super upper treble clef, super upper C. Down here, once again, we have in the upper bass clef, we have middle root, upper bass C, or middle C. Here we have lower root. Okay, we got bass clef C or lower C right there in the bass clef. And then we have lower bass. Then we have the lower, way low root, lower bass C, way low C, and then super low. I don't even have it on this portable keyboard here. Super low root, and that's what that is. String shapes, master pattern. These are the string shapes, as you know. We want to start on 5 on the key of C. We're gonna, my G is here. 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going up. Here we are at 7, root 2. 3, 4, 5. Now we have to do the tuning warp there, so that 3, 4, 5 really goes over 1. So it's up 1 fret for the 3, 4, 5 because of the tuning third. To maintain perfect fourths pattern, we go up 1. Otherwise it'll sound like this. No, it's okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. 2 octaves down, starting over again. 6, 7, root was the G string shape. D string shape 2, 3, 4. A string, short A string shape is 5, 6. And an E string shape again. But now we're drifting to the left. Because that happens, that's why we have these modal long string shapes. Because if we can't go to the left, we have to go root 2 and root 2, 3, like that. So that's a little string shapes primer there. So those are the string shapes we're talking about. And now here's the same music staff. By the way, here's the piano stuff. Moving me all over the place, right? Here's your piano stuff here. Alright, so we have our treble clef. We have the treble clef right here. Treble clef here is F major 7th. Lower trebles E minor 7th. Mighty chord. Right here, E minor 7th. Alright. And then you could add 1 to make it the Phrygian scale, but that one will be, you know, on top. So it's just a piano version. I needed this to help me make these things. We've got like 2 more notes here over the super upper treble clef and all that stuff. And down to C tuned is here, regular E tuned is here. You can see this E. Now this is an actual note. It's a line through note. that line through note. Where's middle C? Middle C's right here, middle root. Go down here to lower root. Okay, so it's the E below lower root. That would be below lower root. So we look at lower root here. Okay, here's middle C, here's lower C, there's the E below lower root. You can see there's a line through it there. So that kind of helped me along. So what I decided to do was put some of this on the staff and see how it works out, and this is how it works out. So now we've got actual real string shapes here, okay? Starting with root 2, 3, this is Ionian, root 2, 3, 4, if we're going to do the long one, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see I mapped them right onto the clefs there. And then I found I had to do the overlap, so it's where the cage system overlaps, and that's what that ends up looking like. So let's move along. Chart 533 I haven't finished yet, but it's pretty much the same thing because we want to get to the blues today. So just one thing we want to focus in on here and look into this. Here's the Ionian, root 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 6, 7. Why is that? Because we want to maybe do the pentatonic. We want to do like a tripentatonic on that Ionian. So we've got root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3. The important thing with the staff is that we're not going horizontally here. We're going up the staff as we count. Okay. Now this is start the thing over again. This is another fret line here. So we're going to start the whole thing over again, even though it should count. But we want to continue the count. This is the whole thing up there, another 2 octaves up in the treble clef. Okay, so we start way down here on the bass clef on guitar, as you can imagine how low that is. All right, so let's move on to now what we got here is the famous New Blues Review shape rule and blues master key BMK blues cages. So this is where I first started to get into blues cages again. And I decided to give these things some new labels. Note these labels, we're not losing the old labels, we're just not putting them there on this chart. Blues cage labels are not tripent cage labels. The tripent cage labels, I didn't show them on this, are right here. C, E, G, okay, C, E, G. It's 1, 4, 5. In the A, the tripent in the A is A, D, E. Okay, so the tripent labels are not these labels. These labels are very interesting because what we have over here is this chart here that I made. All right, and it gives you the diatonic. It gives you +1 pent and +1 caged. +1 pent will give you what we're going to call the key of the root key of the blues is here in the diatonic. The blues pent key is +1 pent, and +1 caged is going to be the blues magic key. And with this chart right here, is shape fitting needed? It was a chart that I needed to make. We've got the C, the A, the G, the E, and the D shape. I'm going to show you how this all worked out in the next few charts. For tripents, use the blues magic key of root for all 3. Yeah, we're not going to do tripent blues magic key. Blues magic key, we're not going to do tripent, but we're going to do tripent on the blues pent key. and on, of course, on the diatonic, on the root key of the blues. So let's see if we can advance up. It gets a little complicated here. I'm starting to put more information here where we have our 3 types of scales that we're going to be using with the blues, and 2 of those types are going to be tripentatonic. Okay, now the thing to remember about the root key of the blues is your regular key. What key are we playing the blues in? We're going to play blues in C. Okay, blues in C would be a C7 chord. That's the root key of the blues. So now this is the chart of the century. I mean, this is it. Chart 536. Root shape shadowing. Same pen scale, played up a major third. So we're going to find an easy way to play that blues pent key. A really easy way to play the blues pent key. But it's still the blues pent key, and we're going to first learn how to play it. And then we have where's the blues note, and I have these 3 charts. They're related just the way the three keys are related. The root key of the blues,